Say, guys, I think we've all seen the release of the new Can-Am Maverick R. A lot of the other YouTubers, Can-Am themselves, have done a lot of videos showing all the specs, everything goes along with it. Adam and I just want to touch base, put it in perspective compared to what else is out there, what you're getting for this actual model. I mean, this thing really is the next level of a side-by-side.
Exactly, like Nick's saying, is that this thing is not, you know, a replacement for the X3. The X3 is going to be around. They done told us that at BRP. This thing is its own model, its own category, as you might say, and that's really how you guys need to look at it. You know, we went in like everybody else thinking, oh, it's going to be an X3 replacement. No, it's not. It's really its own category, and, you know, by the features it has and the size of it and everything else, it is its own machine, and we'll talk about that more a little bit. Go ahead and tell them some more about it, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, I think Adam and I had our own doubts in the first 12 hours, you know, on the looks and stuff. Once you start understanding the whole platform, everything about it, I mean, everybody else, I think, starting to come around to it now. But, I mean, being at the dealer show, Adam and I, being able to sit down with the engineers, talk to some of the racers. I mean, we've sat there with Phil Burton, Dustin Jones, and some other people talking about this thing. What it come down to, I mean, this thing is a whole new class. You hear these racers talking about driving their 72-inch machines, and they're racing in the desert. Well, in 72 inches, they're either leaning in the tracks of the big trucks to the right, the left, so they're always fighting that. With this 72-inch machine, or 77-inch machine, they're able to set same playing field. They're sitting in the same tracks, setting level, able to race against these machines, making it a lot more comfortable from drive, handling. I mean, it's elevated the game that much more to this new category, we feel like.
And this is true, you know, the whole industry has done this, you know, every few years, you know, from way back, you know, we was talking about the Rhino a little bit earlier, you know, that come out in like 04, 05, and everybody thought that was the greatest thing. And then, you know, in about 14, or no, I guess it was 11 or 12 when the 900 XP come out.
Yeah, I think 11, Adam.
You know, so that really changed the game again. It went from more utilitarian style, bare bones basic, you know, just basically a big four-wheeler, to, you know, a sport side-by-side, in our opinion, with the 900 XP. And then from there, it's basically been really about the same type of water, the same mold they've been working off of, ain't it, Nick?
Yeah, and anybody that's been in the sport long enough to drive those Rhinos, I think they were governed to, what, maybe 45 tops?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so going from the Rhinos to the XPs, like Adam's saying, I mean, that was a huge jump to a new category. I feel like they've been modifying that category up through the X3s and the XP 1000s, adding turbos, until now we're going to the next level of this car. You want to tell them some more about the meetings with Phil and Dustin?
Yeah, like I said, we was pretty fortunate enough. We got a small meeting with Dustin Jones and Phil Burton, and you know, we was trying to pick their brain, which there were several people in there trying to pick their brain. But the whole time I was watching it, as Dustin was explaining the car, and you guys seen, you know, S3 videos with Dustin Jones. You know he's a racer for Can-Am. But his excitement level, just him trying to explain his experience driving the car and how much more of a car it was compared to the X3 platform. I mean, dude, to see his excitement, that really got mine and Nick's head turning a little more to be like, all right, you know, it looks this way for a reason, and if it performs better than the looks, I mean, everybody's going to be ecstatic. And Dustin Jones has, you know, reassured us, you know, through the meeting and other times we talked to him out on the floor, that this car is definitely, you know, above and beyond any expectations or any built X3 out there right now.
I know one thing he brought up I didn't even think about was the belt temps. No. I mean, Dustin explained when they're racing the desert, their car may be capable of 90 mile an hour or more. So, but at the end of the day, they're racing a belt temperature gauge they've got set up. That belt temp hits above 225 or somewhere in that number. They said, you know, above that's just going to trash the belt. So they either slow down or they're going to be changing the belt shortly. So just the CVT, that was one of the biggest limiting factors against racing these big trucks that's running 100 mile an hour through the desert. So that alone, you know, that's a big advantage for them coming into next year. When everybody else is watching a belt temperature, now they don't have to. That's a whole new ball game.
Exactly, and that's one thing, you know, people are talking about the transmission, how will it hold up, you know, this, that, can you run 35-inch tires? You know, one thing that me and Nick was always talked about was being able to shift from high to low in an X3. You know, you got to come to that complete stop, and all side by sides are that way. You got to stop, go from high to low or low to high. With the new Maverick R, you want to tell them a little bit about how that setup goes, Nick, and how you don't have to do that now?
Well, we don't got all the details. We ain't got to ride this thing yet. But as far as talking to the engineers, I've not seen a lot of it out on the YouTube yet, but this thing will go high to low on the fly. It don't matter if you come out top of the hill in low gear, you go all the way to 7th gear. You know, we don't know what the top end on high, low is yet, but say you're running 40 mile an hour in low, oh, it's time to go to high. You just hit a button, go to high. The transmission do everything for you. Select whether you need to be in 3rd, 4th, 5th gear in high, whatever. You never slow down. I mean, that's probably one of my biggest, more pleased with that than anything, excited about it.
Exactly, and like I said, me and Nick said that for years. If they just figure out how to get the CVT, the regular clutch, to do it now, you know, I would definitely be ecstatic with that. But them changing the whole transmission dynamics to have where you can have paddle shifters or you can just put it in automatic, and just listening to them talk about all the technology, and there's a bunch of videos out there about it. But guys, I'm telling you, if when we get in ours here and we get to drive it around and it does all that they're saying it's going to do, and I don't have no reason to expect it won't, I mean, it's like a high-end car, Nick. I mean, what side by side do you get a transmission that'll do what like a Corvette, you know, dual transmission, you know, will do?
Not anywhere. Yamaha's had a standard transmission for a while, but that's not a dual clutch transmission. It's a single clutch like what's in a dirt bike. You have to actually push the clutch in, or the unit will do it for you. It changes gears, then lets back out on the clutch. The Honda Talon, I think it may be a DCT, but that is not the same technology here. That's about like the guy in the Mustang telling you he's got the same transmission as a Ferrari. It's a whole different level. When we asked, trust me, we asked the engineer the same thing. Don't Honda already have this? That was what we said, different level of transmission. This thing is, I mean, I think everybody is really going to get behind this thing. It's going to be super nice.
Right, and one thing about the Yamaha too is it doesn't have a high or low neither. You know,
No.
That's a whole nother thing. You know, we was joking around with them guys down there and even the engineers, and we said, well, you know, it's like a big truck back in the, well, I guess semi trucks are that way too, where you can switch the, you know,
Right.
to high or low in the transmission and get a whole nother set of gears. And that's why this one is. So technically you got 14 gears, I guess, if you count low 7 and high 7. And I think that's really going to help a lot of people out here on the East Coast. And I know we see a lot of people saying this and that about riding out here, but we all dealt with that, you know, 7 years ago with the 72-inch buggy. So,
Oh yeah, there's going to be haters. I mean, as people said 72 wouldn't go. We don't have no problems riding those. People going to say this don't go. At the end of the day, I know we're going from 72 to 77. You're talking 5 inches. I mean, 2.5 inches on each side. I mean, that's just saying the guy in front of you only made it through by that. I mean, it's just inherent. The trails are getting bigger. I mean, we've all seen offset wheels and bigger 4-seaters and all that. So
right, yeah. I mean, it's just a mindset, guys. You know, like Nick's saying, you think, oh well, every trail ain't cut to 72 inches. Trust me. I mean, they're not. So
No.
a number here that's on that. I even think Polaris is close to 80 inches too. I don't know exactly what their Pro R is, but you know, it's a big car too, guys. And these people putting offset wheels on these things, so they're even going wider than what it is. Yeah, I mean, they're approaching probably the width of a standard Jeep at this point. So I don't get too much tore up on it after we've experienced, you know, what everybody's saying, what they say. I mean, we've made 4-seaters go. They said that in X3.
oh yeah,
go.
you rode one of those for a year.
Yeah. So everybody says this stuff don't go, guys, and we go out there and we prove it. So we're kindly past that whole montage of people saying that. Some other things about the car, I guess, is just what you're getting for the price. I mean, you know, everybody's shouting price out there right now, Nick. You want to allude to some of what the high points are?
I mean, yeah. I mean, this car's starting at 35K with the top end ended up about 45K. Sounds like a lot, but once you start looking beyond the market, what this technology compares to, Adam, I mean, think of cars with DCTs. I mean, you're talking Nissan GTRs, Corvettes. I think the cheapest you may find, I mean, some of the Mustangs have DCTs, but these are not your mama's Century transmission. I mean, it takes higher end cars to get there.
Right, exactly. And that's, you know, and the Can-Am products have always been that way, in my opinion, been a step above the other players in the industry. And again, they've went above and beyond even what we as customers were thinking is possible with like the A-arm geometry and the suspension geometry and things like that. You want to tell them a little bit about that, Nick? I know everybody's seeing the knuckle in the front and all that, but just some of the stuff you noticed about it, just not the big arm, but other things.
Well, it's all strength. I mean, like I said, we've all hated on this design for a couple hours, and then we come around. And I think even the internet, people starting to post pictures of other high-end cars and stuff that's got this design. Trophy trucks use that design. Now, could they not went all the way over the wheel, stopped to the inside? I don't know. I'm not an engineer. They know something we don't. But it's all strength. Once you start looking at once you understand how that helps the frame take less of a beating, it's easy. I mean, it's going to be less bushings, less bent arms, less impact. As an engineer said, it lets you build a frame that's not a tank.
That's exactly right. We talk to the engineer guys when we go to these shows. A lot of dealers might do whatever they want, but we cram a lot of conversations with the people from BRP, because that's really the best time of the year, especially on a new model like this, to get to the little morsels that the general dealer don't think about, or things like that. And that's what we was doing. Like Nick's saying, they say by the geometry of the suspension help to keep the frame lighter, make it still really strong, but they didn't have to add a bunch of bracing because the geometry of the suspension is not so harsh on the front or the back of the car. And that was something I thought, I really wasn't thinking about, but that's why the front end can be basically one tube, unlike the X3s, and then this one's the same way. And it's really a thought out design, and like I said, as we get it in the woods and it gets rode, you'll definitely see the benefits of that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I think everybody's really going to enjoy the benefits of it. Whether it's less bushings, less broke ball joints. Yeah, it's a better built car.
Exactly, and being part of that, a better built car, and that was exactly like Nick's alluding to. It's just going to be a better customer experience. If you don't have to put a set of bushings in it, a Can-Am's pretty good on bushings, I'm not going to lie, but instead of having to put a set in at 2,500 miles, this thing might go 10,000 miles. And just for the customer on that end, I've been in the A-arm looking, I mean, anybody can break anything, but this stuff looked built, it looks beefy, the knuckles are really big, and they got, splines in them to help, with the rigidity of it, because it is taking a lot of force. And stuff like that, but you got big Heim joint ends on the rear suspension that's adjustable, and it's got a lot going on, and it's going to make for a better experience as far as wear and tear items on the car as well.
I mean, staying on the technology, just the motor alone, I mean, 990 cc, so under 1 liter, putting out 240 horsepower. I mean, that itself is ridiculous when you think of, compared to anything else on the market. Do you know of anything, Adam, that's got 240 horsepower out of a 1 liter engine?
Definitely not in the power sports industry that I've seen. You're not going to get another side by side there. Polaris has kindly broke the unspoken rule with the higher CC engines. The whatever they got, a 2.0 or 1.8. And then they got the General, they dropped it, or Rancher or Expedition. I don't know. Polaris is definitely playing outside of the unspoken rule, because that's the question we asked was, why didn't they go over on CC, because they had motors. They said, they're playing within the rules that they was given, and I get that, and that they took the challenge and they've made a beast of a motor in a small package, and a big turbo too. Nick, you want to tell them some information on that?
Well, the turbo's a 54 millimeter. I mean, you start searching the interweb, that's a huge turbo. But now they went through, again, with all the technology, they went through huge lengths to make sure this thing has no lag. That's where the ART technology comes in, as other people explain to you. I mean, this thing is just inside the market. I mean, I don't see anything competing with it. Even if you jump out of the market, again, you go over to a high-end car, start dividing liters into power, the new C8 Z06s. I mean, if you divide how many power it puts down per liter, it'll come up to like 120, I think in the 120s. Take a $200,000 Porsche Turbo S. It falls short. I think 176 horsepower per liter. So I mean, even thinking completely out of the Ram, step all the way up to a hypercar, a Koenigsegg Jessica. We're talking, I think, almost a 1,180 horsepower car, 5 liters. You do the math on that, divides down like 256 horsepower per liter. So even a car of that status per liter is only beating this thing by 16 horsepower per liter.
And that
I mean, this
car-
is ridiculous.
$3 million, right? Somewhere in there. If you can get it,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not go down
out of my
to your
price
Ford,
range, so I ain't been shopping for one.
Right. It's not go down to your Ford dealership and pick up that car. It's not going to be.
And that's even if you could call that a production engine.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, a supercar, you know, I mean, a hypercar, whatever you want to call it, is basically what BRP's built in a platform that is acceptable and really, you know, affordable to the masses. I mean, you can go in a dealer, you can put in a credit app, you can buy the car, you can take it home. Oh, you have a problem? Guess what? There's a huge dealer, you know, network out there to, you know, take care of that car and to give you guys, you know, what you expect when you spend that kind of money, you know, on something like that. But you're getting a lot for it, guys. I think the thing we tend to do as a consumer, as a purchaser, is look back at, you know, just like a new Mustang and an old Mustang, like a 2-year-old apart car. Well, they changed the body style and, you know, put a new engine in it. And the first thing everybody says, well, I don't want to buy the first year model because it's going to have all kinds of problems. You know, this car is being made since basically, you know, for Can-Am since...
I think they said 7 years. So basically the minute the X3 got dropped, they went on to working on this.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's a lot of time, guys, for, you know, a lot of other players in the power sport industries. I mean, 3 years, you know, to me would be, you know, normally a good time. And that's about what they do is 3 years. And that's why you see recalls for clutches exploding, fires. I mean, it's really indicative of, you know, BRP not having a lot of issues and correcting issues as they go along. You know, that they've done that in the past on models if they do have something. But it's going to be an awesome car. I mean, we're excited to see it. You know, the time frame when we're going to start seeing some here?
I'm hoping we see some into September, 1st October. We're one of the fortunate dealers. We were some of the top dealers selling X3 models. So that allotted us more of these new Maverick Rs. So hopefully we can get more of them. And actually we get a test drive one next week. We go out to Lake Havasu, get actually in the car. I mean, I'm most excited just to test the transmission. I just want to feel how it shifts and high and low and all that. So we'll stay tuned. We'll get some more videos of that, or some videos and some more feedback from that.
And that's right. Like I said, they're a pretty, you know, every dealer can sell a Can-Am, and they do that. But we was fortunate enough, like Nick said, we was top 25 in the country for selling, you know, the Maverick X3. So we did get the opportunity for Nick to go out there and run that car and get real world firsthand knowledge, you know, as quick as possible on that. And we did get a bunch of cars to order. I'm not going to tell the specific number, but if you guys are on the East Coast and you're looking for a car, you know, in the Maverick R platform, we got a good selection coming, and runs from pretty much like Nick said, September through, was it February or January?
I think February.
All the way through February. So we're taking deposits on those, but it's going to be exciting times, guys, especially here on the East Coast. I'm excited to get the car here. Nick is too. We got some things we're going to build, you know, like we've done for the X3 platform over on this platform as well. That's our products, and just exciting times, guys. I'm telling you, this car is going to be, you know, a lot of fun.
It's going to be another class. Yeah. I think it really is another category. I mean, Polaris, it seemed to me, they tried to make this jump to this new category last year with the Pro R. I think they come up a little bit short. I mean, they threw a little bit of more engineering to the suspension, putting the shock on the lower arm. Kind of did a little bit of an outdated engine, I feel like, going with a big CC engine. Not a lot of power there for what it is. Still limited with a CVT. So them same belt temps, when he's talking about watching, that car's still handicapped by that. You know, some people likes belts, some people don't. That car still got it. This one just makes the whole leap. I mean, they tried to make the leap. I think they come up just a little short. I think this new Maverick R, this is the next class. Whatever we end up calling this is
right. Yeah.
When we leave the side-by-side world, or this is the top of the side-by-side world, this is the next evolution.
Yes, absolutely. Like Nick said, I think a name change is coming for these bigger cars on these side-by-side markets. And like we was talking about price a little bit before, you know, these models are still priced better than the competitors out there in the market. When you look at, like Nick was calling out Polaris on some of that stuff, I mean, I look at, you know, high 40s, low 50s on some of them, you know, Polaris R models, and man, that's a stout price too. You know, you got to look, if you're a buyer in the market, you know, what you get for your money. And that's just any market really for me. you know. But that's about all we got on this one. Like Nick was saying, stay tuned for a follow-up video with him actually driving the car and stuff, and have some footage from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually just next week. Got to go out there and do that. So I'm hoping less than 2 weeks we'll have a follow-up video, give your opinion on driving it.
And now always, guys, you know, thanks for watching, especially staying long-winded on this video with two old guys here talking about side-by-side. So we kind of probably dated ourselves on the Rhino, but that's all right. We're just trying to bring you guys information, honest information. You know, we do all these videos and we don't bull crap you guys. It's good, bad, or ugly, and all that good stuff from us. But as always, guys, hit that like and subscribe down below. That way you stay up to date, and we'll keep all this Maverick R stuff coming, as well as the new colors as they come in. We'll be doing model walkarounds on those, so you can check the new fiery red and that silver and red on the X3 platform. Looks really good.